An unabridged recording of Miracle Power for Infinite Riches by Joseph Murphy, Ph.D. Narrated by Timothy Andres Pabon. Forward. How this book can bring riches to you. Have you ever asked yourself these questions? Why is one man very rich and the other poor? Why does one man succeed in business while another fails in the same business? Why is it that one man prays for wealth and gets no answer, and another member of his family gets immediate results? Why is it that one man uses affirmations for money and success and becomes poor, and another man uses the same affirmations and gets marvelous results? Why is it that one man is trying to sell his home or property for a year or more with no success, and his neighbor sells his home and property in a few days? Why does one man become a great success as a salesman in a particular territory, and another man in the same territory becomes a failure? Why is it one man goes up the ladder in his profession, while another man with equal credentials toils and oils all his life without achieving anything worthwhile? Why is it that one man has all the money he needs to accomplish his objectives, and the other man can't make ends meet? Why is it that so many religious, good, kind people are always short of money, and other religious people have all the money they need and use it wisely? Why is it that so many atheistic, agnostic, and irreligious people succeed, prosper, become immensely wealthy, and enjoy radiant health, while at the same time many good, kind, moral, upright religious people suffer sickness, lack, misery, and poverty? Why is it that some give and never receive in return, and others give and they receive bountifully? Why does one man have a beautiful, luxurious home, while another lives in the slums or a dilapidated home? Why is it that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Why is it that one sister is happily married and leads a rich life, and the other sister is lonesome and frustrated? Why is it that one man's belief makes him rich and the other man's belief makes him poor, sick, and a failure in life? This audiobook answers all the foregoing questions and is intensely practical and down-to-earth. It is intended for men and women who wish to experience the riches which are all around them. You are here to lead a full and happy life and have all the money you need to do whatever you want to do and when you want to do it. Money should be circulating freely in your life, and there should always be a surplus of it for you. You can get immediate results by using the laws of your mind in the right way. There are simple, practical techniques and easy-to-do programs in every chapter of this audiobook, enabling you to put into practice at once the art of living life gloriously, richly, and abundantly. You will find detailed instructions as to how to become rich. You will find many examples of men and women in this audiobook who were penniless and down and out, and yet who learned to tap the treasure house of their subconscious mind and found their true place in life, thereby attracting all the riches they needed to lead a full, happy, and prosperous life. In writing the many chapters of this audiobook, I had in mind the salesman, the busboy, the housewife, the stenographer, the businessman, the clerk behind the counter, the professional man, the student, the intern in the hospital, and all those who need money and want money to fulfill their dreams, aspirations, and ambitions in life. Therefore, you will find each chapter pregnant with numerous, simple, and intensely practical techniques, the what to do and how to do it, for impregnating your subconscious mind, knowing that whenever you impress the idea of wealth the right way in your subconscious, you will experience riches waiting for you on the screen of cosmic space. It is that simple to become wealthy. All of the case histories outlined in this audiobook are of men and women in this country and also in other lands across the sea, as my books are published in many foreign languages, who become immensely wealthy and successful by using the mental and spiritual laws described in detail. I might add, these men and women belonged to religions of all known kinds, and some were definitely atheists and agnostics who had no religious affiliations of any kind. Yet by applying the impersonal, powerful forces outlined in this audiobook, they prospered in a magnificent way and became transformed men and women and enjoyed their wealth for true, richer living. As far as I know, these people in their writings and personal conversations came from every income bracket, including many who were bankrupt and penniless, and from every social level. All of these men and women have amassed wealth and have achieved their desired goals in life by using the powers of their subconscious mind in the right way. They are always destined thereby to go forth conquering every obstacle to acquiring unlimited wealth. Unique features of this audiobook. You will be amazed at this audiobook's down-to-earth practicality. You are presented with simple, usable formulas and techniques which anyone can apply in the workaday world. The special features of this audiobook will enlighten, appeal, and reveal to you the reason why oftentimes many people get the opposite of what they prayed for. This audiobook will also point out to you clearly the reasons why. The age-old cry which you yourself have often heard is, "Why is it I prayed, and yet I received no answer?" In this audiobook you will find the simple answer to this common complaint. The many simple programs, formulas, and techniques for impregnating your subconscious mind and getting the right answers make this an extraordinarily valuable audiobook in extracting from the treasure house of eternity within you all the riches you need, spiritual, mental, material, and financial, enabling you to lead a full, happy, rich, and joyous life. God gave you richly all things to enjoy. First Book of Timothy, chapter 6, verse 17. Some highlights of this audiobook. The following are just some of the many highlights of this audiobook. How an engineer in a deep financial jam broke the fixation spell, and at the end of a few days was advanced $25,000, which solved his problems. How a daughter revealed the riches of the infinite healing presence to her mother by giving her a transfusion of faith and confidence, bringing about a wonderful restoration of her mind and body. How a young lady broker became a marvelous success by maintaining a mental picture of success and riches. How a young banker quiets his mind and receives marvelous financial answers from his subconscious for himself and his customers. The reason why some do not get answers from their subconscious, and how to overcome this. How a psychologist about to lose everything in a lawsuit received everything bequeathed to her by directing her subconscious the right way. How a young secretary drew up a treasure map and received out of the blue $50,000, a trip around the world, married a wonderful man, and now has a beautiful home magnificently furnished. How a widow trying unsuccessfully to sell a home for over a year, by following instructions in this audiobook, within 3 days received $100,000 for the home, which was the full price she wanted. How an unemployed actress suddenly became a motion picture actress by using mental imagery, as well as acquiring an outstanding, wealthy man for a husband. How a man followed the instructions of using the master image and discovered an oil well, has obtained a beautiful mansion, 4 cars, and in 3 months' time has become worth $500,000. It is written, "Whoever perseveres will be crowned." How a salesman with dim prospects for the future was made sales manager at $30,000 plus fringe benefits. He practiced the technique of thought image in this audiobook. How a young Spanish girl used one of the techniques in this audiobook and found $2,000 in an envelope on the street, enabling her to take her mother on a trip to Mexico. There is a simple, practical, logical, and scientific way that always works for you to have all the good things of life, plus all the money you need for yourself and your family. I want to say positively, definitely, unquestionably, and decisively that by using the instructions in this audiobook, you will reap the fruits of a rich, happy, and successful life that you want for yourself. Let this audiobook guide you. Go over it again and again. Do exactly as it says, and you will open the door to fabulous riches waiting for you, plus a nobler, finer, and satisfying life. From this moment onward, let us go forward in the light of true workable knowledge, till the day you have been expecting breaks, and all the shadows of fear, failures you may have been experiencing, flee away suddenly. Then, miracle of miracles, you are the wealthy person you have always wanted to be. Joseph Murphy. 1. The secret of miracle power for infinite riches. It is your God-given birthright to be rich, which means you are here to express the fullness of life along all the lines for glorious living. You exist on earth to lead a happy, joyous, and glorious life. In other words, the life more abundant. Infinite riches are omnipresent, and you should begin to realize that the treasure house of infinity is within your own subconscious depths. Begin now to extract from that marvelous gold mine within you everything you need: money, friends, a lovely home, beauty, companionship, and all the blessings of life. Whatever you want, you can bring forth when you apply the proper technique, that is, when you apply the know-how of accomplishment. David Ho, an old friend of mine, told me about two geologists who had graduated from the same college and who had been brought up in the same town. One knew about the mine's treasure house within him, the other didn't, but he depended on externals such as physical appearances, conditions, and general topography of the soil. This man spent 3 weeks in a certain area in Utah with all the modern equipment of his profession and found nothing. The other man with the right mental equipment followed up in the same area and found in the first hour a vein of uranium and a vein of silver. Where was the wealth, the riches? I believe you will conclude that the real riches were within the mind of the second geologist, who believed in a guiding principle within his subconscious which would lead him straight to the hidden wealth. The greatest secret in all the world. One man recently said to me that the greatest secret being unfolded today was in the genetic field, and that now, as a consequence, modern science could alter man's basic genes so that we could create as many Einsteins, Beethovens, Edisons, etc. as we would like. He failed to see that the living spirit, God, is within man, which can't be changed. It is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Man is more than his body, his hereditary characteristics, his family tree, and the color of his skin, eyes, and shape of his body. Man is transformed only one way, and that is by the transformations of his mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Others say that interplanetary travel and nuclear fission represent the greatest secrets of our times. The greatest secret is that the kingdom of God is within man, which means that infinite intelligence, boundless wisdom, infinite power, infinite love, and the answer to every problem under the sun are locked in his own subconscious mind. Man is looking for the greatest secret in the world everywhere, but within himself. Begin now to tap these tremendous powers within you, and you will begin to lead a full and happy life, based on God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy, First Book of Timothy, chapter 6, verse 17. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. John chapter 10, verse 10. Your right to be rich. It is normal and natural for you to desire prosperity, success, achievement, and recognition in your life. You should have all the money you need to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. There is no virtue in poverty, because poverty is a mental disease and it should be abolished from the face of the earth. Wealth is a state of mind. Likewise, poverty is a state of mind. We will never eradicate all the slums in the world until we first wipe out the slums and belief in poverty and lack in the mind of man. During private counseling and when talking to people in foreign lands, as well as during interviews with people following lectures, both here and abroad, I hear the constant old refrain, There is nothing that $25,000 or $50,000 wouldn't cure in my life. This refers, of course, to those who suffer from pecuniary embarrassment and who are financially handicapped. They fail to realize that wealth is really a thought image in the mind, and that if they follow the simple techniques as outlined in this audiobook, in using their subconscious mind, wealth will flow to them in avalanches of abundance. It is your right, and that of your family, to have excellent food, good clothes, an ideal home, and all the money you need to buy the good things of life. You need a period every day for meditation, prayer, relaxation, and recreation, and the time and facilities necessary should be available to you. To prosper means that you begin to advance mentally, spiritually, intellectually, socially, financially, and along all lines. How he discovered the riches of his mind. Recently I talked with a man who said that he had had a streak of bad luck and misfortune. He owned a home, but it was mortgaged to the hilt. He didn't have enough money to buy the basic necessities of life for his family. Also, he could not meet the mortgage payment or the grocery bills. His medical expenses were being paid by his brother, and in his own words, his life was a mess. Tapping the riches of his subconscious. I explained to this man how the infinite intelligence within his subconscious could reveal to him everything he needed to know at all times, that he could receive inspiration, guidance, new creative ideas, and a solution to financial problems. I added that if he used his subconscious correctly, it also would provide all the money he needed, and that he could experience financial freedom beyond his fondest dreams. Accordingly, I gave him two abstract ideas, wealth and success. He agreed that wealth is everywhere, and that he was born to succeed and to win in the game of life, as the infinite power within him cannot fail. At my suggestion, he relaxed, became quiet at night, and repeated slowly, feelingly, and with deep understanding, wealth, success, wealth, success, taking these ideas into the deep of sleep. He understood that whatever he impressed on his subconscious would be magnified and multiplied on the screen of space. The secret is that his last waking concept prior to sleep is etched on his subconscious mind. Each night as he repeated these two words, wealth, success, he was activating and releasing the latent powers of his subconscious, and the law of his subconscious being compulsive, he was compelled to express riches and success. How his subconscious responded. This man, recognizing that the source of his supply was his own subconscious mind, proved that when used in the right way, it never fails, and in unforeseen ways meets his needs regardless of circumstances. He was offered $25,000 cash for a lot which he had had for 10 years, and for which he was in arrears for monthly payments, and which he had been unable to sell for over a year. His lot was needed for a new building, which the purchasers wished to construct at once. He discovered that infinite riches are all around him, as well as within him. The thought in his mind was the connecting link which united him with the treasure house of infinity. Infinite intelligence within your subconscious can only do for you what it can do through you. Your thought and feeling control your destiny. I can assure you that this man, as he follows the technique I gave him, will never be wanting all the days of his life. The riches of the listening ear and understanding heart. Recently I had a wonderful letter from a widow who listens every morning to my radio program. The following is the essence of the letter. She pointed out that her husband had died a year previously and had left no insurance. She had 3 children to support, the house was mortgaged, and she had only $500 in the bank. Friends paid the funeral expenses for her deceased husband. She wrote, "I heard you quote from the Bible, 'But my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory.' Philippians chapter 4, verse 19. And you elaborated on this by telling us that if we tune in on the infinite within us and believe in our hearts that no matter what it is we really need to bless us, comfort us, provide for us, or inspire us, the divine presence would respond as it is written, 'Before they call, I will answer. and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Isaiah chapter 65, verse 24. Quote, I sat down and began to think of God supplying all my needs and hearing me as I was praying, and a great sense of peace and harmony came over me. About 2 hours later, in walked my brother-in-law, who said to me that he knew of my predicament and that he also was aware of the spending habits and profligacy of his brother. He told her he wanted to take care of her and the 3 small children, assuring her that neither she nor they would ever want for the good things of life. He gave her a $10,000 cashier's check and set up an arrangement with his attorney and accountant to see to it that a weekly sum of money was sent to his sister-in-law for the rest of her life. This was in the form of a trust fund, legally instituted, which took care of the children also. This widow, recognizing that God supplies all her needs, and that even before she asks, the answer is within her, proved to herself the existence of the inexhaustible reservoir within her. The secret of promotion and riches was within him. A young attorney who had lost a few cases was despondent, gloomy, and full of self-criticism and self-condemnation. He found himself with a lot of financial reverses and was deeply in debt. I explained to him that his thoughts are definitely creative and that conditions, circumstances, events, and experiences accurately reflect his habitual thinking and imagery. I pointed out that if his thoughts produced lack and limitation, likewise thoughts of peace, success, prosperity, right action, and abundance, sustained regularly and systematically, would reproduce themselves after their kind, in the same manner as men do not reap grapes from thorns or figs from thistles. For the law is that man is what he thinks all day long. Moreover, it is true that one spiritual thought is more powerful than 10,000 negative thoughts, and that thoughts you originate feelingly and knowingly will create for you whatever you wish to experience from this day forward. I laid out a program for him to follow and asked him to remind himself frequently of the riches of the infinite within his subconscious mind. Accordingly, I gave him the following prayer technique. He affirmed slowly, quietly, and feelingly as follows 3 to 4 times a day. Today is God's day. I choose harmony, success, prosperity, abundance, security, and divine right action. Infinite intelligence reveals to me better ways to give greater service. I am a mental and spiritual magnet, irresistibly attracting to me men and women who are blessed, comforted, and satisfied with my counsel and decisions on their behalf. I am divinely guided all day long, and whatever I do will prosper. Divine justice and divine law and order govern all my undertakings, and whatever I begin will result in success. I know the law of my mind, and I am fully aware that all these truths I am reiterating are now sinking into my subconscious mind, and they will come forth after their kind. It is wonderful. He made it a special point never to deny what he affirmed, and when thoughts of lack, fear, or self-criticism came to him, he would immediately reverse the thought by affirming, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Psalm 23, verse 1. A few years have passed by, and today this young man has gone up the ladder of success. He is now a prominent judge. When your thoughts are God's thoughts, God's power is with your thoughts of good. How a salesman hit the jackpot. A real estate salesman who attends my lectures on Sunday mornings and listens to my radio program said to me that his sales were falling off badly and that he had incurred a lot of financial obligations and found himself deeply in debt. He added that he had not made a sale of property or a home in 8 months. In talking to him, I discovered that he was envious, jealous, and highly critical of the sales techniques and processes of other salesmen who were making almost daily sales. I pointed out to him that jealousy and envy generated by himself would tend to impoverish him and attract all sorts of lack, limitation, and misery to him. He was made to see that his thought is definitely creative, and that what he thinks and wishes for the other, he will create in his own experience, for the simple reason that he is the only thinker in his universe and is definitely responsible for the way he thinks about others as well as about himself. He then reversed his attitude of mind and began to wish sincerely for all his associates success, achievement, wealth, and all the blessings of life. His constant prayer is, "I am a child of the Infinite, and His riches flow to me freely, joyously, and endlessly. I am enriched in all ways with happiness, peace, wealth, success, and outstanding sales. I am now stirring up the riches of my deeper mind, and rich results follow. I know I shall reap what I sow, for it is written, 'Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways.'" Job chapter 22, verse 28. Today he is a sales manager and is able and capable of instructing others how to sell wisely, judiciously, and constructively. The book of Proverbs says, "Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction." Proverbs chapter 13, verse 18. Meditation for realizing the abundant life. Repeat the following meditation to help solve your problems for abundant living. I know that to prosper means to grow spiritually along all lines. God is prospering me now in mind, body, and affairs. God's ideas constantly unfold within me, bringing to me health, wealth, and perfect divine expression. I thrill inwardly as I feel the life of God vitalizing every atom of my being. I know that God's life is animating, sustaining, and strengthening me now. I am now expressing a perfect, radiant body full of vitality, energy, and power. My business or profession is a divine activity, and since it is God's business, it is successful and prosperous. I imagine and feel an inner wholeness functioning through my body, mind, and affairs. I give thanks and rejoice in the abundant life. Chapter points to remember. 1. You are here to lead the abundant life, a life full of happiness, joy, health, and rich living. Begin now to release the riches of the treasure house within you. 2. The real riches are within your subconscious mind. A geologist who believed in the guiding principle of his subconscious mind found the treasure in the earth the first hour. His associate, lacking this faith, had worked in that area for 3 weeks and had found nothing. 3. The greatest secret in all the world is that God indwells man, but the average man is looking everywhere but within himself for wealth, success, happiness, and abundance. God is the life principle, the infinite intelligence, and infinite power within man, available instantly to all men through the medium of man's thought. 4. Poverty is a disease of the mind. Belief in poverty and lack produce lack and limitation. Wealth is a state of mind. Believe in the law of riches and you shall receive. Before we will ultimately banish the slums and poverty, we must first banish the slums and false beliefs in the mind of man. 5. You can tap the riches of your subconscious by claiming guidance, abundance, wealth, security, and right action. Make a habit of meditating on these truths, and your subconscious will respond accordingly. 6. If you lull yourself to sleep every night with 2 ideas, wealth and success, knowing that by repeating them you are activating the latent powers of your deeper mind, you will be compelled to express wealth and success. 7. Infinite intelligence in your subconscious can only do for you what it can do through you. Your thought and feeling control your destiny. 8. When you believe that the nature of the infinite intelligence in your subconscious mind is to respond to the nature of your request, the answers will always come to you and in ways you know not of. 9. Your thoughts are creative. Each thought tends to manifest itself in your life. Thoughts of promotion, riches, expansion, and achievement, provided you do not deny them subsequently, come forth after their kind. You promote yourself. You answer your own prayer because it is done unto you as you believe. 10. Be careful when you affirm wealth, success, right action, and promotion, that you do not subsequently deny what you affirm. That would be like mixing an acid with an alkali, and you would get an inert substance. In other words, stop neutralizing your good. Thoughts are things. What you feel you attract, and what you imagine you become. 11. Be sure that you are not envious or jealous of the success, riches, and wealth of others. Your thought is creative, and if you are envious or critical of those who have amassed wealth and honors, you will impoverish yourself along all lines. Your thought is creative, and what you think about the other, you tend to create in your own experience. 12. Whatever you really feel to be true and so decree in your life will definitely come to pass. Decree riches, health, beauty, security, and right action. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. Job chapter 22, verse 28. 13. Use the meditation at the end of the chapter to realize a more abundant life. 2. How to tap the miracle power that makes you rich at once. The Bible says, "If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth." Mark chapter 9, verse 23. To believe is to accept something as true. When you analyze the root of the word, you learn it means to be alive, that is, make alive the truths of God by feeling the reality of them in your heart. It is much more than a conscious or theoretical assent. It means that you must feel the truth of what you affirm in your heart. It is belief in the minds of men that determines the difference between success and failure, health and sickness, happiness and unhappiness, joy and sadness, wealth and poverty. Wealth is a state of mind, as poverty is a state of mind. You are truly rich when you are acquainted with the infinite presence and power within you, which men call God. You are truly rich when you know that your thought is creative, that what you feel you attract, and that what you imagine you become. You are rich when you know the creative process of your mind, which is that whatever you impress on your subconscious mind will be projected on the screen of space as form, function, experience, and events. How he discovered the riches within. A young engineer said to me, "I am in a big jam and I have been praying continually, getting nowhere." I suggested to him that it wasn't necessary for him to pray continually, as if he were afraid to let go, but to leave it to the infinite intelligence of his subconscious mind. I explained to him that he could break the fixation spell and discover the spiritual riches within him by praying for someone else. John next door, or May down the street, who is known to be up against it with a terrible heart condition, etc., twice a day. I suggested also that he pray for joy by claiming, "The joy of the Lord is my strength," knowing that joy is the elan of life, the expression of life. He was to use no willpower or mental coercion in this mental and spiritual approach. At the end of a few days, a complete solution to his problem came out of the blue. He said to me, "I was about to lose everything when an old friend came to my aid by advancing me $25,000, which solved all my problems." This man had discovered that riches are in the infinite storehouse of his subconscious mind. She discovered the riches of her creative thought. A young woman was quite concerned about her mother, who was afflicted with chronic stomach pains. The digestive tablets and antispasmodic medicine which her doctor had prescribed failed to relieve her pains. The daughter was setting aside half an hour in the morning and half an hour every evening praying about her mother's stomach, that the stomach was a divine idea, that it was perfect, that her digestion was perfect, etc. The unfortunate result was that she got stomach trouble herself. I explained to her that in order to help her mother, she must refrain from identifying with her mother's stomach ailment and keeping an appointment with it, because by her attitude she was holding on to the trouble by this close association. It had become a habit, keeping a date with her mother's stomach pains. She had a sort of contract job. How her creative thought healed. She changed her procedure and ceased dwelling upon organs of the body and other corporeal conditions. She identified with the infinite healing presence in the subconscious mind and began to claim quietly, feelingly, and lovingly that the healing presence and intelligence in the subconscious, which created her mother's body, was vitalizing, healing, and restoring her whole being into harmony, health, peace, and wholeness. She meditated quietly on these truths for a reasonable period of time, feeling that this particular prayer was the best she could do at the time, and then she would pray again when she felt the need to do so. Her results with this approach were remarkable, in that all distress vanished from her mother, and she herself was also set free. Sympathy and compassion. The reason this woman became ill while praying for her mother was because she was actually sympathizing with her, thereby submerging in the quicksand with the other. Compassion consists of standing on firm ground and throwing a rope or branch of a tree to the other and pulling him out. Sympathy means to agree with the negative or baleful aspects of the condition, which tends to aggravate the problem and which actually magnifies it. The reason for this is that whatever we focus our attention on, the subconscious magnifies exceedingly. Giving the riches of the infinite to the sick person. All the riches of the infinite, such as inspiration, guidance, faith, confidence, joy, harmony, love, peace, abundance, and security are within you. Therefore it behooves you when you visit a sick person to lift him up in your thought and feeling, giving him a transfusion of faith and confidence in the healing power of his subconscious. You can also give him courage and understanding. Remind him that with God all things are possible, and imagine him as being whole, radiant, joyous, and free. To feel sorry for the ill person and to commiserate with him is to drag him down, and this is a very negative approach. Be compassionate and call forth the infinite healing presence in his subconscious, which will heal, bless, and restore his mind and body. He restoreth my soul. Psalm chapter 23, verse 3. You are the master of your thoughts, not the servant. Your thought is creative. Every thought tends to manifest itself and causes your subconscious mind to respond according to the nature of your thought. You can direct and steer your thoughts like you steer your automobile. Thoughts are things. Your thought image of a radio, television, automobile, wealth, health, or a trip to Europe is a reality in your mind. If all the autos in the world were destroyed by some holocaust, an engineer could redesign the vehicle based on the thought image in his mind, and in a short while, we again would have millions of cars. Your thought is the only instrument you can work with, and it pays fabulous dividends to direct your thoughts wisely, constructively, and judiciously. Your thought works with mathematical exactitude, for limitation and lack if you think of poverty, and for expansion, growth, and prosperity when you think along these lines. Her thought was the magnet. A young lady who is a very successful broker told me that all her success was due to the fact that she maintained a mental picture of success in her work, and it was the magnet which attracted to her the clients and conditions which accurately responded to her thought and feeling. This was her prayer every morning. I am a mental and spiritual magnet, attracting to me all those people who want what I have to offer. There is a divine exchange of ideas between us. They are blessed, and I am blessed. I decree harmony, abundance, right action, and inspiration, and I know my subconscious mind accepts these truths and assumptions. This real estate broker finds herself divinely led and directed along all lines. Her subconscious mind is the seat of habit, and as she continues to claim divine guidance, right action, and abundance regularly and systematically, she is under a subconscious compulsion to do, say, and act in the right way. This is the meaning of the saying that thoughts are things. He quiets his mind and gets things done. During a conversation I had with a prominent banker recently, he told me that some years ago he had been prone to look only at external conditions and had had the tendency to struggle and resist circumstances and attitudes of associates. He realizes now, however, that it is the quiet mind that gets things done. He quiets his body periodically, tells it to be still and relaxed, and it has to obey. When his conscious mind is quiet, calm, peaceful, and receptive, the wisdom of his subconscious rises to the surface, and he receives marvelous answers and solutions. How he became a good executive. It takes a good executive to draw forth the riches of his subconscious mind. A good executive has the mental acumen and sagacity to delegate work. Then he keeps his fingers out of the assignment he has asked the others to complete. A poor executive, whether in business, science, art, industry, or education, is always meddling with the pie he has asked the others to make. When you pray, you must be a good executive and learn to delegate authority to your subconscious mind, which knows all and sees all, and will bring it to pass in its own way. When you pray or seek an answer, you turn your request or desire over to your subconscious mind with complete faith and confidence, knowing that whatever is conveyed to the subconscious will come to pass. You can know if you have really turned your request over by the way you feel. That is, if you are wondering how, when, where, and through what source, or if you are anxious and apprehensive, you do not really trust the wisdom of your subconscious. Cease pestering or nagging your subconscious. When you think of your desire, lightness of touch is important. Remind yourself that infinite intelligence is taking care of it in divine order. How he discovered the riches of his mind. Recently I had a conversation with an old friend of mine, whose doctor had informed him that it was imperative that he give up smoking at once. He had been smoking 4 packages of cigarettes daily, and felt he just couldn't give them up. I explained to him an age-old truth. When your desire and imagination are in conflict, your imagination always wins. At my suggestion, he held a session with himself twice a day, wherein he became quiet and receptive, and affirmed and visioned as follows. Freedom and peace of mind are mine now. I know that as I believe and affirm these truths, they are sinking down into my subconscious mind, and I will be under compulsion to give up cigarettes, as the law of my subconscious is compulsion. In my imagination I see my doctor before me. He has just finished examining me, and is congratulating me on my freedom from the habit and on my perfect health. He had a few sessions like this every day for about a week, at which time he got a response from his subconscious, and he found he had no further desire to smoke. He had succeeded in impregnating his deeper mind with his habitual thinking and visioning. His doctor confirmed objectively what he had been thinking and visioning subjectively. This is how he discovered the riches of his subconscious mind. The riches of letting go and letting God help. A psychologist was involved in a difficult lawsuit requiring her frequent attention and court appearances. Her prayer therapy was as follows. I let go and let divine wisdom and divine right action of my subconscious solve it. I loose the matter and let it go. Whenever she had to get in touch with her attorney or others involved, she would silently decree, the God presence within me is all-wise and is taking care of this in divine order. She said to me, I am no longer keeping tabs on the God presence within as to how, when, where, or through what source this will be solved. I let go and let God take care of it. The sequel to her new attitude of mind was interesting. The foremost antagonist in the lawsuit passed away one night in his sleep, and the others requested an immediate settlement. There was a divine adjustment, and she was set free from all legal entanglements. The future can be wonderful for you. Do not waste your energy and vital substance by thinking about old peeves, grudges, and grievances. To do so is like ripping open a grave. All you find is a skeleton. Focus your attention on the good things of life and realize the future will be wonderful because you know your present and harmonious thoughts will germinate and grow, bringing forth wonderful fruits such as health, happiness, abundance, and peace of mind. Liquidate the past and never mentally touch any negative experience or trauma that has happened in the past. Remain faithful to this mental attitude and realize that as you change your present thoughts and keep them changed, you will change your destiny. She discovered the riches of scientific prayer. A mother was distraught and highly agitated because her boy of 18 had run away from home following an argument with his father. He quit college and joined a hippie colony. She was frantic, and her doctors had to prescribe strong sedatives to quiet her mind and body. In talking to her, I pointed out a few simple truths, such as, you do not own your son. He came through you, but not by you. Life principle is the common progenitor. We are all children of the one Father, or self-originating Spirit. Your son is here to grow, to expand, and to overcome difficulties, challenges, and problems, thereby enabling him to discover the powers within him and to release his talents to the world. You can't help him by mental excitation, anger, and resentment. At my suggestion, she decided to release him completely, lock, stock, and barrel. She decreed as follows, I loose my son to God completely. He is divinely guided in all his ways, and divine wisdom anoints his intellect. Divine law and order reign supreme in his life. He is guided to his true place and is expressing himself at his highest level. I loose him and let him go. She remained faithful to this prayer and daily claimed peace, harmony, joy, and divine love for herself. Some weeks later, her son went back to college, gave up his old haunts, and is doing well now in his scholastic work. He communicates with both his parents, but his mother no longer feels possessive. She has discovered the riches of divine love and freedom. This woman ceased thinking from the standpoint of circumstances and conditions. She began to think from that interior standpoint where there are no circumstances, and from whence she was able to decree what conditions should be according to divine law and order. Then she let the subconscious wisdom take care of it. How to think richly. Think regularly and systematically of life, illumination, inspiration, harmony, prosperity, happiness, peace, and the life more abundant. Think these truths rather than this or that condition of them. Trust the operator of your subconscious mind to bring all these ideas you are contemplating into the best way suited for your particular case. This is a wonderful way to enter into the life more abundant. Meditation to have the power of faith. Use the following meditation to help you secure the power of faith. The prayer of faith shall save the sick, and God shall raise him up. I know that no matter what the negation of yesterday was, my prayer or affirmation of truth will rise triumphantly over it today. I steadfastly behold the joy of the answered prayer. I walk all day long in the light. Today is God's day. It is a glorious day for me, as it is full of peace, harmony, and joy. My faith in the good is written in my heart and felt in my inward parts. I am absolutely convinced that there is a presence and a perfect law which receives the impress of my desire now and which irresistibly attracts into my experience all the good things my heart desires. I now place all my reliance, faith, and trust in the power and presence of God within me. I am at peace. I know I am a guest of the Infinite and that God is my host. I hear the invitation of the Holy One saying, Come unto me, all ye that labor, and I will give you rest. I rest in God. All is well. Chapter points to remember. 1. To believe is to accept something as true. Belief makes the difference between success and failure, riches and poverty, health and sickness. Believe in the riches of the infinite power within your subconscious, and you will experience them. 2. When you are in a big jam, break the tension by praying sincerely for someone who is very ill or in deep trouble, and suddenly you will find your own problem solved. 3. When praying for a loved one, be sure not to identify with the ailment or any part of the anatomy. Realize that the infinite healing presence is flowing through the loved one as harmony, health, peace, and joy. Vision the loved one as radiant and happy. Meditate quietly on these truths and pray again when you feel led to do so. Wonders happen as you pray this way. 4. Sympathy means to go down into the quicksand with the other, and it does not help the ill person. Have compassion and give the sick person a transfusion of faith, confidence, and love, knowing that with God all things are possible. 5. Your thought is creative, and every thought tends to manifest itself. You can direct and steer your thoughts in the same way as you steer your automobile. Thoughts are things. Your thought image of wealth, success, and achievement is the magnet that attracts to you all things that correspond with your thought image. 6. The quiet mind gets things done. Tell your body to be still and quiet your mind by thinking of the infinite intelligence of your subconscious, which knows the answer. When your conscious mind is still and your body is relaxed, the wisdom of your subconscious will rise to the surface mind. 7. A good executive knows how to delegate authority. You must be a good executive when using your mind. Turn your request over to your subconscious with faith and confidence, and you will get the appropriate response. You know when you have really turned it over because you are at peace. 8. You can give up smoking or any bad habit by decreeing freedom and peace of mind, while at the same time imagining a friend or a physician congratulating you on your freedom. As you affirm and vision an antipathy toward tobacco, your subconscious will take over and compel your freedom from the habit. 9. Many have discovered the wisdom of turning an acute domestic problem over to the God presence, trusting that divine wisdom and intelligence will bring about the solution which is best for all. The prayer is, I let go and let God take over, bringing about the perfect answer. 10. Liquidate the past and never dwell on old grievances or grudges. The future is your present thinking made manifest. Think regularly and systematically of harmony, beauty, love, peace, and abundance, and you will have a wonderful future. 11. When a son leaves the home in anger, pray as follows. I lose him to God completely. He is divinely guided in all ways, and divine love takes care of him. Whenever you think of him, bless him silently by knowing God loves him and cares for him. As you do this, whatever happens will be good. 12. Think of the infinite riches within your subconscious mind. Think of harmony, peace, joy, love, guidance, right action, success. All these are principles of life, and as you think of the life more abundant, you activate the latent powers within you. Your subconscious will compel you to express the abundant life right here and right now. Thoughts are things. 13. Use the meditation to secure the great power of faith for yourself. Three. How the rich get richer, and how you will join them. The Bible says, God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. First Book of Timothy, chapter 6, verse 17. Riches are of your mind. There is a guiding principle within you that can lead you to fulfill the desires of your heart. Wealth is a state of your consciousness, a mental attitude, an acceptance of the riches of the infinite. The whole world was here when you were born. Life was a gift to you. Actually, You are not here just to earn a living, because life itself was a gift to you. You are here to express life and to release your hidden talents to the world. When you possess the know-how of tapping your subconscious mind, you will never want for any good thing all your life, whether it be health, peace of mind, true expression, companionship, or a lovely home and all the money you need to do what you want to do when you want to do it. The key of your subconscious to your infinite power to be rich is your own thought. Your thought is creative. Begin to think regularly and systematically of success, achievement, victory, abundance, and the good life. Thinking makes it so. She discovered her thought image was wealth. A few years ago, I took an Iberian tour, visiting many famous places in Spain and Portugal. There were about 30 people on this tour. A woman with whom I chatted at Salamanca, Spain, told me she had always wanted to visit Spain because her ancestors had come from Malaga, which we visited. She did not have the necessary funds, but she had been reading Your Infinite Power to be Rich, and she got all the folders and photographs of the famous shrines and cities we were to visit. Her technique was fascinating, as was as follows. Every night prior to sleep, she would concentrate on the Hotel Malaga Palacio, a picture of which was on the folder. Then she would imagine she was actually sleeping in that hotel and looking at the beautiful surroundings through the window. She followed this procedure for about 5 nights. One of the young men in the office casually mentioned that he was also going on that trip. They became interested in each other and became engaged prior to the trip. He paid all her expenses as a prenuptial gift. This event illustrates the working of your deeper mind. It always magnifies what you deposit in it. This woman not only received a gift of the trip, but in addition, a proposal of marriage and a $2,000 engagement ring. Your subconscious gives you compound interest, and whatever you deposit in it is magnified and multiplied exceedingly. Her thought image demonstrated to her where all the riches are. How he invoked the law of increase. On the Iberian tour I just mentioned, we visited the city of Seville, which personifies the real Spain more than any other community in that country. Over 500,000 people here share the rich history that included Phoenicians, Romans, Moors. All left their mark here. Its university was founded in 1502, and Seville gave the world 2 of its greatest painters, Murillo and Velázquez. While conversing with one of the guides in the hotel, I learned that he had left New York City when he was 14, and that he had developed an intense desire to go to the city of his ancestors, Seville, to learn languages and to become a guide, traveling through Europe and interpreting for tourists. He invoked the powers of his subconscious in a simple way, without conscious knowledge of how it worked. This is the way he worked. He wrote out on a piece of paper that he wanted to go to Seville to study and to work there to pay for his training while he learned to speak Spanish, French, and German. He would affirm this many times a day. He said the most amazing thing happened on his 15th birthday. His aunt, who lived in Boston, wrote to his father, her brother, and asked permission to take him along as a companion to Seville to visit her relatives. When they were in that city for a week or so, she consented to pay all his expenses for university training and upkeep with the permission of his father. This guide's constant prayer is, "The God of heaven, he will prosper us." Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 20. By constantly dwelling on his written requests, he succeeded in writing them in the tablets of his subconscious mind, which responded by bringing it to pass in its own unique way. How to follow your state of mind. The Lord maketh poor, and maketh rich. He bringeth low, and lifteth up. First Book of Samuel, chapter 2, verse 7. The Lord is the lordly power of your subconscious mind, called the Father within, who doeth the works. Your Lord is what dominates your thinking. If your dominant conviction is that you are entitled to all the good things of life, such as health, wealth, love, true expression, and the abundant life, you will experience accordingly. On the other hand, If you feel that you are destined to be poor and that the good things of life are not for you, you are placing yourself in want, lack, frustration, and self-imposed bondage. Remember, your thought has power. It is creative. Every thought you initiate tends to manifest itself except as it is neutralized by a more powerful thought of greater intensity. All the men and women who garner more of the world's goods reveal a wealth consciousness and a joyous expectancy of the best. Everything you experience is due to the law of your mind. By dwelling on the idea of increased good, and by nourishing it and sustaining it, man draws more of the riches of life to himself. On the other hand, the man who thinks only of decrease, lack, and limitation magnifies his loss. The law of your subconscious is to increase any idea implanted in it. The experience of the negative thinker will attract more and more loss. Begin to practice the law of increase. Remember, any object to which you give special attention will tend to grow and magnify itself in your life. Attention is the key to life. Think of increase along all lines. Feel you are successful and prosperous, since the feeling of wealth produces wealth. Be sure you wish for all those around you success, happiness, and abundance, knowing that as you wish increase of wealth and happiness for others, you are also attracting more of God's riches to yourself. As you radiate abundance and riches to others, they will pick up your thoughts subconsciously and will be benefited by the feeling of riches and abundance emanating from you. You can silently give to all people you meet the following blessing. God gave you richly all things to enjoy, and you are prospered beyond your fondest dreams. That simple prayer will work wonders in your life. How to use the law of increase in business or professions. As you quietly, lovingly, and feelingly enter into the realization that your thoughts of richness, success, prosperity, and health create all those conditions and circumstances on which you focus your attention, you will automatically create all the conditions necessary for your advancement. Moreover, you will find yourself attracting more and more people who will become clients, customers, friends, and associates, and who will aid you in the realization of your dreams. You will subconsciously attract to yourself the men and women who are living in the consciousness of God's riches. A businessman in Beverly Hills mentioned to me a while ago the secret of his tremendous success and great popularity with his customers. Every morning when he opens the store, he decrees, "Everyone who enters here is blessed and prospered, inspired and enriched in all ways." He knows the truth, which is, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways." Job chapter 22, verse 28. Why the rich man received the home foreclosed on the poor man. Not far from where I live, a man's wife was constantly telling him to cease talking about hard times, loss of money, bankruptcy, etc. However, she said, he persisted in picturing bankruptcy and loss of his home by constantly saying, "I can't meet the mortgage. We will lose our home. I know I will be bankrupt. Business is bad. Things never go right for me," and so on. He constantly talked lack, bankruptcy, and hard times, and he experienced the unwanted result. The mortgage company foreclosed on his home, and he went bankrupt. A successful and prosperous neighbor bought his home for a very small amount of money from the mortgage company, and the rich man acquired the store which he had vacated and is prospering in a wonderful way. This is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Job said, "The thing which I greatly feared is come upon me." Job chapter 3, verse 25. The law of mind is good and very good. A man can't begin to think regularly of loss, lack, bankruptcy, and failure and expect to prosper and succeed. The rich man walking in the consciousness of success and prosperity and looking upon wealth somewhat like the air he breathes acquires the former business and home of the poor man. You can't think evil and reap good, no more so than you can think good and reap evil. The law of your mind is perfect. It also outpictures what is impressed upon it. The poor man, a term which means the man who doesn't know how to operate and release the riches of his mind, can at any time he wishes begin to practice the law of opulence and again attract to himself wealth, success, and riches of all kinds. The rewards of being acquainted with the law of opulence. You can get acquainted with the qualities of an orange by tasting it and eating it. You can get acquainted with the riches of your subconscious by applying the law of opulence. A businessman said to me that the source of supply was within him and responded to his faith in the endless resources of the infinite riches of his subconscious mind. Every morning and every night his prayer is, I am ever grateful for God's riches that are ever active, ever present, unchanging, and abundant. This businessman never wants for all the money he needs to operate his enterprise and to open up new branches. Listen to the truth, and you will never be in want. Infinite Spirit, the source of all blessings, the world, and all things therein contained is within you. You do not own anything in the universe. God or Spirit owns all. You are a steward of the divine, and you are here to use the wealth of the world wisely, judiciously, and constructively, claiming divine wisdom in your handling of all your earthly possessions. When you go on to the next dimension, you cannot take anything with you but the treasures of wisdom, truth, and beauty, which you have planted in your subconscious mind. Your faith, confidence, and trust in the goodness of God and in the joy of the Lord, which is your strength, represent the real riches which you take with you into the fourth dimension of life. These are the treasures of heaven, your mind. In this three-dimensional plane in which we live, you must realize the whole world is yours to enjoy. The cattle on 1,000 hills are yours. The song of the birds is yours. You can enjoy the stars in the heavens, the morning dew, the sunset and the sunrise. You can turn your eyes to the hills, the mountains and the valleys, and you can smell the sweet fragrance of the rose as well as that of the new-mown hay. All the riches in the soil, in the air, and in the sea are yours. There is enough fruit that rots in the tropics to feed all of humanity. Nature is bountiful, lavish, extravagant, and actually wasteful. It is God's intention and will that you lead a full and happy life. You should live in a beautiful home, surrounded by luxury. You should have beautiful clothes, constantly dressing for God and reminding yourself of the infinite and indescribable beauty, order, symmetry, and proportion of the infinite. You constantly should have all the money you need circulating freely in your life, enabling you to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. Your children should be brought up in beautiful surroundings and in a lovely, godlike atmosphere. Moreover, they should be taught the endless resources within the depths of their own minds, and being able to tap the riches of their subconscious, they will never want for any good thing. How to tap the endless source of supply. Recognize the infinite source within your subconscious, and then invoke the great law of opulence and increase along all lines as follows. God is the source of my supply, whether it is energy, vitality, creative ideas, inspiration, love, peace, beauty, right action, or wealth that I need. I know it is as easy for the creative powers of my subconscious to become all these things as a blade of grass. I am now appropriating mentally and experiencing buoyant health, harmony, beauty, right action, abundant prosperity, and all the riches of my deeper mind. I exude vibrancy and goodwill to all. I am giving better service every day. God's riches are forever flowing into my experience, and there is always a divine surplus. All these thoughts are sinking down into my subconscious, and they are now coming forth as abundance, security, and peace of mind. It is wonderful. As you sow in your subconscious, so shall you reap. The Bible says, "The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice, and blossom as the rose. Isaiah chapter 35, verse 1. Daily meditation for the rich life. Repeating the following meditation daily will bring the rich life to you faster and easier. Consider the lilies of the field. They toil not, neither do they spin. Yet Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed as one of these. I know that God is prospering me in all ways. I am now leading the abundant life because I believe in a God of abundance. I am supplied with everything that contributes to my beauty, well-being, progress, and peace. I am daily experiencing the fruits of the Spirit of God within me. I accept my good now. I walk in the light that all good is mine. I am peaceful, poised, serene, and calm. I am one with the source of life. All my needs are met at every moment of time and every point of space. I now bring all the empty vessels to the Father within. The fullness of God is made manifest in all the departments of my life. All that the Father hath is mine. I rejoice that this is so. Chapter points to remember. 1. The rich get richer for the simple reason that the consciousness or awareness of wealth and the expectancy of more and more of God's riches, which are omnipresent, attract more and more wealth, health, and opportunities to the person who walks in that state of mind. 2. The thought image of wealth produces wealth. The thought image of a journey results in the opportunity to take it. A young girl began to think and image from a hotel in Spain, feeling she was there and sleeping there, and her subconscious opened the way and magnified her impression of the journey, adding an engagement and a diamond ring worth $2,000. Your subconscious always magnifies. 3. A young boy of 14 wrote down his desires for study in a university in Spain to learn languages, to travel, and to become a famous guide and interpreter for tourists. He continued to meditate on what he had written and succeeded in writing his requests on the book of life, his subconscious, within him. His subconscious wisdom acted on the mind of his aunt, fulfilling all his desires. 4. Enter into a consciousness of God's wealth, which is all around you. Live in the joyous expectancy of the best, and by the law of attraction, you will attract the riches of the infinite storehouse in your own subconscious mind. Keep thinking of prosperity, abundance, security, and increase along all lines. 5. Whatever you give attention to grows, magnifies, and multiplies in your experience. Keep your attention on whatsoever things are lovely and of good report. Radiate abundance, goodwill, and riches to others. They will pick it up subconsciously, and you will attract wonderful people into your life. They will prosper, and you will prosper. 6. A rich man walks in the mental attitude that wealth is like the air he breathes, and having that state of mind, he attracts more and more riches of all kinds. The poor man who is constantly picturing and talking of lack, bankruptcy, and hard times loses his home and business, and often the rich man next door buys them for a song. 7. You can get acquainted with the riches of the infinite storehouse within you by reiterating and believing the following prayer. I am ever grateful for God's riches that are ever active, ever present, unchanging, and eternal. 8. God gave you richly all things to enjoy in this universe. Life itself is a gift to you. The whole world was here when you were born. Believe and expect the riches of the infinite, and invariably the best will come to you. As you practice this simple truth, the desert of your life will rejoice and blossom as the rose. 9. Strengthen your hold for a rich life by repeating the meditation at the end of the chapter. 4. How to claim your right to infinite riches now. During the month of May, a few years ago, I took a trip to Ireland, England, and Switzerland, and during my stay in Killarney, I visited a relative of mine. I might add that Killarney is one of the world's beauty spots. The poets, artists, and writers try to convey in their respective media the magnificent and varied color and form of this wonderland of mountains and lakes. These lakes are surrounded by luxuriant woods of birch, oak, and arbutus. It was here amidst the beauty of the countryside that my relative poured out his tale of woe regarding his daughter. Mary, not her real name, was rapidly losing weight and refused to eat except under pressure from her parents. The local doctor was giving her injections of liver and vitamins and said she was a hopeless case. She had been taken to Dublin to see a psychiatrist, but refused to talk to him. Her father was frantic. Moreover, he was very critical of her. I had 3 interviews with her, and on the 3rd interview, I asked her point blank, "Mary, is it true that you are trying to get even with your father, exerting a sort of revenge because he prefers your brother to you, or at least shows him more attention?" She blurted out, "Yes, I hate him. He never finds fault with my brother, but he's always criticizing me, and I'm going to make him feel sorry." I pointed out to her that she was slowly committing suicide, which is completely contrary to her religious beliefs, moreover that her body is a temple of the living God, and that she is here to lead a full, happy, and rich life. I added that she would have bodies to infinity, and that by destroying this body, she would solve no problem and would probably be earthbound for a long time, walking about in a dazed and confused condition. This explanation startled her, and she began to cry and abuse her father with vitriolic language and a flood of tears. Her father came to the rescue. In his presence, I discussed the matter of his daughter, and he broke down and cried, admitting that he had wanted a boy and had never showed her any affection nor love. Her mother had died at her birth. He apologized to his daughter, asked forgiveness, and vowed his love, appreciation, and tenderness for her. Actually, this girl was seeking love. She desired to be wanted, loved, cared for, and needed. When he exuded and affirmed real love for his daughter, he really poured forth the riches of the infinite, which is real love. Mary had been silently saying to herself, "I feel I must starve and die. Nobody loves me. This way I will make my father care for me." But now, with the changed attitude of her father, she wept copiously and began to eat a hearty lunch. Love frees. It gives. It is the Spirit of God. Love opens prison doors, sets free the captives, and all those bound by fear, resentment, hostility, etc. The prayer that changed her life. I know my body is the temple where God dwells. I honor and exalt the divine presence within me. Divine love fills my soul, and his river of peace flows through my mind and heart at all times. I eat my food with joy, knowing that it is transmuted into beauty, harmony, wholeness, and perfection. I know God hath need of me where I am, and I am divinely expressed. I am loved, I am needed, I am wanted and appreciated by my Father and others. I radiate love, peace, and goodwill to everyone at all times. My food and drink are God's ideas, which unfold within me, making me strong, wholesome, and full of divine energy. Mary is now saturating her subconscious mind within these truths several times daily. The last letter from her informed me that she is getting married to a very rich local farmer and is bubbling over with a new life and inner joy. She has truly experienced the riches of the infinite as love, marriage, inner peace, and abundance. The riches of faith in a higher power. I requested my Irish driver during this European trip, to which I referred previously, to take me to Glendalough, the Glen of Two Lakes, which is famous for its historical and archaeological associations. Here in the 6th century, St. Kevin founded a monastery, and a shrine is visited by many people hoping for a cure of various diseases. My driver told me that as far back as he could remember, he had stuttered badly and was made fun of in school and nicknamed Stutz. He had been taken to Dublin and Cork City to speech therapists and psychologists to no avail. In desperation, he said, his father had taken him to Glendalough and placed him in the cell in which it was believed St. Kevin had slept. His father had told him, "If you sleep there for an hour, you will be healed." The driver said, "I believed my father and followed his instructions. When awakened from the hour's sleep, I was healed, and from that day, 20 years ago, I have never stammered or stuttered in my speech." The real reason for his cure. I did not disturb this young man's blind faith, which simply activated and released the healing power of his subconscious mind. This boy's mind at the age of 8 or 9 was highly impressionable. His imagination was fired, and his expectancy was undoubtedly 100% belief that St. Kevin would intercede for him. It was done unto him as he believed. There is only one healing power, and that is the infinite healing presence lodged in your subconscious mind. The riches of true faith versus blind faith. True faith consists in knowing that the infinite presence which created you from a cell knows all the processes and functions of your body and certainly knows how to heal you. When you consciously tune in on the healing power of your subconscious, knowing and believing it will respond to you, you will get results. In other words, true faith is the combined use of your conscious and subconscious mind, scientifically directed for a specific purpose. Blind faith consists of belief in amulets, charms, talismans, bones of saints, certain shrines and waters to heal, etc. In other words, it is faith without any understanding and is often only temporary in its therapeutic value. I suggest to people who are sick to make use of the services of a physician and to keep on praying, not only for themselves, but also for the physician. The following are the reasons why. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him. For the Lord hath created him. For of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the King. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole. Then give place to the physician, for the Lord hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. There is a time when in their hands there is good success, for they shall also pray unto the Lord, that he would prosper that which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38, paragraphs 1 and 2. When you pray for health, then health should spring forth speedily. If not, you should take action immediately by going to your medical doctor, dentist, chiropractor, or surgeon, as seems most appropriate to you. Remember, if you were always walking in the consciousness of God's love and peace, you would never be ill. If you can't grow teeth, I suggest you go immediately to a dentist and pray that God is guiding him and that divine law and order reigns supreme in your life, and you will be satisfied with your new dentures. Why he did not experience the healing riches of the infinite. A friend of mine in Waterford arranged a tour for me of the Waterford glass factory, the glass of which is legendary in its fame. I witnessed experienced craftsmen making the crystal, the raw material of Waterford glass blooming into depth and sparkle. One of the craftsmen caused a ray of light to fall on the cut crystal, then the real glory of its facets, diamonds, flutings, and ovals shone forth in a spectrum of indescribable beauty. But the point I want to make is that my friend was lame and carried a cane, and he walked with great difficulty. I asked him whether he was getting medical treatment or not. He said yes, that cortisone was administered to him and he took pain pills. Then he asked, "Why is it that when I went to Scotland, and hundreds of people were present at the church healing meeting which I attended, some cripples threw away their crutches, others said they could hear for the first time, and when the healer touched me, I felt a strong vibration all through my body, and for the first time I walked without pain or a cane. But the next day I was as lame and as bad as ever." He had a temporary emotional healing. I explained to him that when the so-called healer placed his hands upon him, manipulating his leg and calling on Jesus to heal him, at the same time telling him that he was healed and could walk, and in the glare of the lights, the chanting of music, and the mass emotional hysteria at the meeting, undoubtedly the emotions aroused from his subconscious depths gave him the power to walk temporarily without the aid of his cane. At the same time, the mesmeric or hypnotic suggestions freed him from pain for 24 hours. Hypnotic suggestions to the subconscious have only temporary effects. That is what he had experienced. On the road to recovery, my friend began to see